Off-a-day, Guam. Welcome to another episode of In the Mix. I'm Jonagan Charfris. Thanks so much for tuning in. I have a great show lined up for you this evening. Coming up, we make our way over to Tamuning and check out a hidden gem called Pilado Bowls, serving up delicious acai bowls full of flavor. A little bit later, we have I-94's Andy Wheeler, who puts on a chef's hat and shares with us another simple recipe using Johnsonville bratwurst. In KUM Connections, we get a sneak peek of a couple of shows making their way back to NBC TV8. And we close out the show tonight with music from Martin Honor, when he performed on Live Local Fridays on Guam's favorite I-94. But first, model Crimsona Kaiser has paved the way for transgenders in the fashion industry. Here's more. A true trailblazer for transgenders when it comes to the fashion industry, Crimsona Amistad Kaiser was recently in New York City to take part of Made to Model, Trans Beauty in Fashion, a mini-documentary presented by Logo, VH1 and MTV. The video brought together transgender models who helped establish the foundation and pave the way for their successors. No surprise that Crimsona would be considered a pioneer. She first got into modeling when she was in Honolulu back in 1982. She had answered an ad in the paper for South Sea Island Girls.
And they were seeking for models. And so I applied and they gave me this rundown of what was supposed to be done. And it was for South Sea Island Girls postcard and calendar, which meant I was going to be topless.
She didn't hesitate to take the job because she knew the photos would be done in good taste.
We walked and hiked into this waterfall area, and there I was, placed on position. I had to remove my top. They dressed me in a tropical scene with a layer on my head, and there it was.
The postcard was released in 1983 and sold over 1 million copies. The print would eventually make its way to Guam in 1992.
A lot of people actually loved the picture. There was one controversy where somebody called in and said that that model is not a woman, she is transgender. But they didn't care.
Despite that, the postcard remained in publication for 20 years. In 1983, Crimsona would find herself heading to Germany, where she was discovered by a designer, and that's where her modeling career took off.
His name was Axel Cassis, and he introduced me to his friend Karen Pfleger, who was a designer in Germany, and that's how I got started in Germany. It opened the doors.
The Island Beauty would walk the runways for several top designers.
Most of the shows I've done was for Oberkassel 1. They took care of Miss Dior, Armani by Giorgio Armani. They took care of Touche, Eri Uno, Montana, Yoke. I did shows for Coma. I even did a Russian first show, which was, oh my gosh. When you're modeling with 80 other people, it is a big show.
In July of this year, the mini-doc that was shot focused around a one-of-a-kind photo shoot for Paper magazine, featuring the iconic transgender models, their successors, and the LGBT models of today. It was an experience and opportunity that Crimsona was grateful to be a part of.
Gina Rosero, she is one of the newest models out in the scene, and she's also an advocate. And she wrote me on Facebook and asked me if I was interested in flying to New York to do a documentary Made to Model. And she wanted to collect all the pioneer models from the 70s and 80s. And I was really touched by it because I always kept a very secretive modeling lifestyle.
It was there she got to meet fellow pioneers Tracy Africa Norman and Lauren Foster. The three helped lay the groundwork for acceptance during a time when transgender rights wasn't topic on mind.
It was filmed the first time we were meeting the new faces of transgender models. For me, it was a dream come true because back then we kept a very secret life. It was something that you didn't want to talk about, because transgender in the modeling industry back in the 80s and 90s was not accepted.
The meeting would be an emotional one.
So many of my peers before me, have never experienced this closeness. We are here again together, to celebrate with the new transgender faces of the fashion world. That in itself is a dream come true.
The photo shoot was with Paper Magazine creative director and judge for America's Next Top Model, Drew Elliott. The theme? Iconic women. Crimsona was given Audrey Hepburn and channeled her Breakfast at Tiffany's look. She wondered why they chose that look for her.
I asked the production assistant, why Audrey Hepburn? She goes, well, because she really portrayed a very elegant woman. And it really made me happy because I always feel elegant sometimes.
It was an experience that humbles Crimsona.
For me to open the doors for all these young transgender, I feel blessed. It's like I'm the mother hen telling the young ones, get an education, strive to be good, don't get in trouble, and reach your dreams. You know, that's very important.
And though it wasn't always a smooth road for Kaiser, she has certainly paved the way for transgender models of today.
I got the beating. I got bullied, but it didn't stop me from reaching my dream. And it takes, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, it takes time for people to be educated. We need to open our eyes more. We have to be more compassionate, you know, towards people who are transgender.
Don't go anywhere because when we return, we head on over to Palado Bowls in Tamuning. You're watching In the Mix.